Il nostro amore lo viviamo, io e te.
Welcome back, you degenerates. Today I'm showcasing my Tudor prints. I gotta say, I do think this is an absolute gem, and it's a shame they've been discontinued. This one is reference number 74000N, but keep in mind, you can't just type 74000N on Google and immediately find it. A lot of prints models share the same reference number while having slight differences, and I only say this because if this video motivates you to buy one, it will take a bit of digging to find this exact model. On that note, they're still floating around in various stores, so good luck in the hunt if you do end up wanting one. Why did I get one? Because a few months ago, I wouldn't be caught dead with a watch like this. Not because it doesn't look good, but because it's 34mm. Everyone's got their own size preferences, and mine was 37 to 39mm. Those are the diameters I had grown to like, and that's what I was comfortable with. But we all know that diameter is not the end-all be-all to the size of a watch. I have 41mm watches that wear better than 38mm watches, and I've had 36mm watches that wore worse than 39mm watches, etc., etc. Lug to lug, thickness, weight, visual presentation. There are so many other variables that come into play to determine the overall wrist-wearing experience. I know this, you know this, we all know this. So with that in mind, I decided to challenge myself, and I said, what the hell, and decided to step out of my comfort zone and try it out. And I'm very glad I did, because the Tudor Prince is a great watch, and I can't get over how great the dimensions are. All the things I said before, about the lug-to-lug and thickness, all of those things work perfectly with the diameter here. They work so well that fixating on the fact that it has a 34mm diameter almost seems like a moot point. But for inquiring minds, here are the dimensions. I'd say the biggest selling point here is the 9mm case height. It's so wonderfully thin, which helps visually flatten out the watch on the wrist so you don't get that feeling like the diameter is too small for the rest of the case. For reference, I have an 8-inch wrist. There's no doubt that my wrist is larger than your average monkey, and I think it wears beautifully. And maybe I'm out to lunch on this one. Maybe in reality, I look like one of those fat chicks trying to pull off skinny jeans and a tiny backpack. Who knows? Who cares? I am officially a believer in big wrists and smaller watches. Although to be fair, 34mm is only very recently considered a small watch. Whatever. I'm not the official judge on what size is large or small. All I can say is I thoroughly enjoy wearing it, and that's under the premise that I never thought I would. It has a very similar appeal to my silver Hamilton khaki Field, where it's comfortable being out of the way and unnoticed, which is exactly the kind of watch I want sometimes. I don't know about the rest of you, but as a degenerate watch addict, sometimes I have a hard time picking a watch because there's too many options, and I don't have a specific style I'm going for. That's when something like this is perfect. It doesn't require a certain style, atmosphere, or event. It just exists when I need it to. I really like having that kind of watch I can depend on to just be a watch and nothing more. Sure, it has a very plain look, and one could call it boring, and that's fine. To me, there's value in a boring watch. It's no different than tofu or plain white bread. Boring, but infinitely useful. The quality of the prints is good. I'm not going to try and tell you it's some amazing thing that you have to try. I'm just going to say it's good and acts as a great representation of the Tudor brand. It is impressive that even after 20 plus years, the quality is comparable to a good quality watch made today. My litmus test for watches is the crown action, and I give the Prince top marks. Despite its delicate frame, the Prince's crown is sturdy and firmly connected to the movement. The degenerate romantic in me would say that it could be described like King Arthur's sword in the stone. Everything else is your typical standard automatic watch affair. The sapphire crystal is a nice touch, and I'm sure at the time that was considered a somewhat premium option. I'm looking forward to hearing all the bitches and moans about the date Cyclops. The hate for Cyclops is the result of a desire for Bauhaus minimalism and the perpetual need to change. I used to be one of those people. Over time, I've grown to appreciate them, not because I need it, but because it adds a level of charm which I enjoy. It's sort of like something a 70s porn star would have used, and as such, it transfers that old school, cigarette smoke infested warmth to it. The bracelet that I have on it is a cheapo aftermarket rivet bracelet. The OEM one that comes with it is a much nicer 5-piece bracelet. I like these ones because it shows Tudor's departure from Rolex, doing their own thing and establishing their own design language. Sure, the watch itself is very much a copy from Rolex, but we're taking baby steps here. I specifically wanted a jingly jangly 3-piece bracelet on the Prince because that's the style I was going for. I can't explain what the appeal is, and I can only hope that some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this makes my list of ultimate watches. For all the reasons that you might find it completely uneventful are the very reasons why I think it's so great. At the end of the day, many of us are seeking that one watch that's there as a supplement to our lives and not as the main character. A watch that can sit in the background of our interactions, relationships, wardrobe, and finances, never taking the spotlight, only surfacing in a passing conversation with the occasional watch nerd. To a lot of us, or at least to me, a watch symbolizes reliability and consistency, and this Tudor Prince is the perfect embodiment of those qualities. When it comes to watches, I am very much a LARPer. I like to live vicariously through the story a watch is trying to tell, and in this case, it's the tale of someone who isn't addicted to watches and focuses on living a simple life not bogged down by materialistic convictions. Of course, there's plenty of other watches like this. This just happens to be the one I chose for myself. Branding is important to me, and the Tudor brand is one that I find value in. And I guess that's all. I'm not even sure where I was going with this episode. I always get lost at the end because it takes me so long to write down this bullshit that I forget what the original point was that I was trying to make. I don't know. Something buy what you like. That's all I got. Stay classy. I sure as hell won't.